Hair. Some of us have it, some of us don't. Whether or not your dome is naked or it's clothed with luscious locks or strands, you have to admit, hair is an immensely important part of anyone's visual and even internal identity. I, for one, value my hair heavily, and nurturing it and growing it out has given me so much confidence and has been so crucial in forming my identity. I remember a conversation I had with this really cool person, and the topic of my hair came up, and I remember saying that my hair is a part of my soul. And I'm going into this video with that exact same sentiment, but expanding it and applying it to art. Specifically manga art for me, but you can apply this to animations, video games, illustrations, whatever. Outside of myself, unfortunately, I feel like the importance of hair kinda speaks for itself. Whenever I stare at a character, I immediately find myself gravitating towards their hair, and find it to generally be one of the more memorable parts of the design. I mean, clothes are obviously an important part of a character's design, but like, Goku naked is still Goku, but Goku without hair though is The hairstyle of a character also serves as visual storytelling and creates some intrigue, like why is Blank's character's hair cut that way, why is it that specific color, etc. It can also serve as a way to subtly display the character's personality or be a juxtaposition between their appearance and character. Ultimately though, if a character has sick hair, I like them a lot more than any other character. Examples of my favorite use of hair in media. Whenever I think back on the most iconic moments in my favorite piece of media, hair is always a major factor in those memories. The obvious example being Dragon Ball Z. Goku's golden hair will forever be welded on every wrinkle of my brain irreversibly. That and the inexplicable feelings of pure excitement and awe. Plus trying to go Super Saiyan in all of my formative years with my near bald black ass head. Fun times. A couple of my other favorite use of hair in media include Finn from Adventure Time, and Marsha Lee and Marsha Lee, Link in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, Edward Elric in Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, Makoto Yuki in Persona 3, Ryuko Matoi from Kill la Kill, Future Trunks, Mugen and Jin from Samurai Champloo, various Avatar The Last Airbender characters, and Hanekawa from Monogatari series. Alright, mentally prepare yourself because I'm about to go on a crazy ass yap session about each of these characters' hair. Finn. A majority of my childhood memories are just me being plastered in front of the TV watching cartoons. The most common cartoon being Adventure Time. From the moment I saw Finn, I thought he was the coolest character on the planet. One of the factors for this was his simple but effective design, even though I didn't really know it at the time. He's an adventurer slash hero, so he only carries the bare necessities. He wears a plain blue shirt and shorts with a green bag that carries his essentials. He also carries a sword and sports his iconic bear hat. Now on to the exciting part. When Finn takes off his hat. This scene is probably the most iconic Adventure Time scene from my childhood. That and a lot of Lich scenes scaring the living shit out of me. I remember being in inexplicable awe when I saw his long blonde hair come outside of the bear hat. I think this was the moment that sparked my interest in hair and made me think, whoa, long hair is cool. Finn and Jake are obviously heroes and commit just acts, but they're generally quite vulgar, loud, aggressive, and even obnoxious. They don't necessarily make beating the shit out of Ice King and monsters pretty, but Finn's hair reveal adds a layer of depth. Amidst all the violence, immaturity, and aggression is purity, and a beautiful heroic soul. And I think his majestic hair being contained inside of that hat represents that. His hair is, in my opinion, a representation of his true nature. There's also the obvious practical factor of him keeping his hair out of his face when fighting, and eventually finding out about the human island where Finn comes from, and also how humans wear animal hats as protection from vampire bites, but you get the point. Before I wrap this up, I also want to mention Marceline and Marsha Lee. The way Marceline's hair constantly went through different changes was so interesting, and seeing how it matched the different character arcs she had was great. I have a little bit of personal connection with Marsha Lee, specifically from Fiona and Cake, because like, seeing any sort of black representation is sick, especially considering Marceline's like my favorite Adventure Time character. But Marsha Lee having dreads and them not being fucking comb over dreads was the coolest shit known to man, bruh. It's so validating and cathartic seeing a character that looks like you, man. I even cosplayed him for Comic-Con like 2 years ago. I also made fan art when Fiona and Cake dropped. Alright, enough Marsha Lee glaze. I could literally go on for 2 hours. Link. Specifically, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. It's objective that Breath of the Wild Link has the coolest hairstyle known to man. He's the reason I tie my hair up into a ponytail. I say that, but right now my hair isn't even tied up. Anyway, he's the reason I tie my hair into a ponytail. But, just thinking about it thematically, in Breath of the Wild, Link has a clear purpose: defeat Calamity Ganon. It also ties into his previous duty as Zelda's knight. so I believe his hair being tied up represents that. On the other hand, in Tears of the Kingdom, Calamity Ganon's been defeated and Hyrule's been freed. Link's main sense of responsibility is accomplished. I think Link's hair being done is kind of a perfect representation of him fulfilling his original objective and gives off this new sense of liberation. On to Edward Elric. Remember how I mentioned Link starting my love for ponytails? Well, Ed cemented it. A really minor thing I love as well is how whenever Ed is on some downtime, injured, or in some sort of taxing mental state, his hair is either down or isn't in the ponytail braid and just in a normal pony. Visual storytelling, yeah!
Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist.
Makoto Yuki from Persona 3. Fun fact, Persona 3 Portable is like my favorite game of all time, so I'm about to have a field day. Oh my god, it's the edgy one-eye covered anime MC hairstyle. Shut up. He's different, okay? He's different. Out of Persona 3, 4, and 5, I haven't played Persona 1 and 2, but I will eventually, I promise. Anyway, out of those 3 Personas, 3 definitely has the darkest atmosphere and narrative. So, I think Yuki's hairstyle perfectly sets him apart from Narukami and Joker. Due to his posture / demeanor and his hair, he exudes a sense of being closed off or recluse, which ties in with the narrative perfectly because themes of trust and betrayal are extremely pivotal. His hair covering one part of his face also creates the impression of there being 2 parts of him, and one being negative and possibly a traumatic origin without spoiling anything. Boy, is that true. Damn, I wanna play Persona 3 now. I'm gonna speed through the next couple of characters because I don't want to verbosely just repeat what I've already mentioned because they all kind of fall into the same category in terms of why I like them. Ryuko Matoi from Kill la Kill, her red streak of hair, very subtle but an awesome symbolism for rebellion. Future Trunks, I just think he looks cool as fuck, man. Like, he's got it on in every possible sense. Mugen and Jin, I love how their hairstyles perfectly encapsulate their natures. Mugen's messy hair symbolizing his chaotic nature, whilst Jin's neat and tied up ponytail indicates his samurai roots, and as well as him being very disciplined and a composed character. Contrast, baby, it's fucking tight. Also, just a tad bit of personal interpretation. I think Mugen's hair being very similar to like an afro is a cool tie-in to how he's inspired by hip-hop and black culture as a whole. I'll take any opportunity to talk about Samurai Champloo. Shout out to Nujabes. Avatar: The Last Airbender. This could be a video on its own, but I'm gonna be insanely brief because there's also a bunch of videos discussing this, so check them out. Zuko's hair being a symbol of the last bit of connection he has to the Fire Nation, then him and Iroh eventually cutting it, literally in the sense of, you know, cutting their hair, but also cutting off their ties with the Fire Nation. Sokka's top knot being a symbol of his masculinity and a role as a protector in the Southern Water Tribe, and growing out his hair after his failure in bossing Say as a disguise while in the Fire Nation, but also due to his inability to confidently represent his culture due to his failure. And Azula's perfect and symmetrical hair gradually becoming chaotic to represent her downward spiral and crippling mental state. Hanekawa cutting her hair to symbolize her growth, the white stripes in her representing her negative aspects and impulsive parts of her nature. You get the point. A lot can be done with hair. Oh, also, I love how Studio Ghibli characters' emotions can be expressed via their hair, like how it lifts up when they're angry. Hair and animation. Ayy. Alrighty, I'm done now. How to go about effectively using hair in your art. Initially, I planned for the segment to be way longer, but I kind of already mentioned all the points I wanted to discuss here in the previous segment, so I'm going to organize and structure the points in the segment. Alrighty, first things first. Make sure the hairstyle you pick for your character serves some sort of purpose. It can be some deep meaning, or you could just give them a hairstyle that you find cool, because the audience might find it cool too. On the other hand, you could also give them a hairstyle you might not necessarily find appealing, as long as it serves a purpose. If all your characters only have hairstyles you like, you're kind of limiting yourself, unless you like everything. That sounds like an indecisive person's worst nightmare, I won't lie. Just care, man. Care about your characters. I also find that caring about your appearance can affect your art too, so try to find out what hairstyles you feel the most confident in. This tip isn't as concrete as the others, it's just something I found works for me. Take care of yourself, and for your art. Alrighty, on to the meat. Pause. Due to my love for hair, I try to place a lot of focus on it in my character designs. I think it's fair to say most of my manga characters have interesting hairstyles in some sense. I mean, just look at this. The main character for my upcoming manga, Seikatsu, by upcoming I mean in the future, which is whenever I can get it serialized. The main character is a ghost, so his hair is like this blue blob of ectoplasm. Koame from my manga, Koame, read it on Manga Plus Creators, has a fucking ponytail, yeah! There's a bunch more examples I could use, but I want to talk about the manga I'm currently working on, Reject. Reject is about fashion and martial arts. Crazy combination, I know. And the main character, Boleng, is obsessed with fashion. It's essentially what he lives for. So, he values appearance very heavily. And what's a crucial part of his appearance? Okay, I'll stop. He cares about his hair a lot. He's also constantly experimenting with different outfits, so his style is very expansive. His hair is a part of this experimentation. So, to convey this in the manga, I gave him a bunch of different hairstyles. Each hairstyle meant to represent pivotal points in the narrative, and just so I won't get bored drawing the same hairstyle over and over, and I actively stimulate myself and the reader. Who doesn't love variety? It was also genuinely so fun trying to think of different ways to change up his locks and going through a bunch of trial and error. Thinking about how each hairstyle is going to tie into the story was also extremely exciting. I feel it also adds an extra dimension of realism to the character too, because, you know, we don't wear the same thing every single day, unless you're like a chronic outfit repeater, and if so, hey man, shout out to you. If it works, it works. I respect that. God, I'm so stoked to see which hairstyle people fuck with the most when the manga releases. Another reason I value hair is because I've always struggled with verbally expressing who I am, and actively taking care of my hair and making it look how I want it to feels like a way of expressing myself without having to say anything. Essentially, my hair feels like an extension of my soul, and I try to input the same idea into my art. In conclusion, I love my hair, I hope you love your hair, I love drawing hair, and I love cool fictional hair. I love hair! And if you're bald, damn, thanks for watching, you're pretty cool too.
Yo, I'm gonna give some honorable mentions of other characters with really cool hair that I didn't mention in the video, because like I didn't want to edit all that. And I'm gonna do it while skating because that's more entertaining than me just yapping. First character, Itachi. Hey. Second character, Moon of Flowers. Third character, fucking Just the Kid. And number 4 is Zelda. I can explain for Zelda's hair.
That counts, I don't care, that counts.
Number 5, give me a character, Colin.
Huh?
Name a character.
Yoru. You're not my character. Yeah, you're from Val.
Fuck it.
Oh my god. What's the outro?
Outro, fuck. Anyway, thanks for watching me yap about hair for like 5-10 minutes, I think. Check out my Instagram, check out my Twitter. Post cool manga updates on there. Look out for rejects. My upcoming manga, best manga I've ever read. That's about it. Good night.
Reject coming soon, reject coming soon. Ah!